The year is 2024, which means the greatest Godzilla movie of all time is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Now, some of you might be saying, Chris, Godzilla Minus One came out last year. And while, yes, a fantastic Godzilla movie and it's alright, it is still not the greatest. No, that honor and privilege belongs to Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Oh my god, I love this movie. It has everything. It's got Godzilla. It's got Anguirus. It's got robots. It has space aliens who are actually disguised as the Planet of the Apes. It's got spies. And it's got a hot jazz score that you just can't beat. So for today's episode, I figured we'd look at Bandai Premium's offering into one of the greatest Godzilla movies of all time. Yes, the fake Mechagodzilla, which is actually part of a bigger set, of which we're not going to go into. We're just going to go into the funky look and delightfulness of these figures. So of course, this is a Bandai Premium. If you've never bought a Bandai Premium, well, it's either a joyous experience or a wildly frustrating one. I would argue this one is not as frustrating because it offers something that has never been done before, which is the fake Mechagodzilla. So if you've seen the movie, you know that fake Mechagodzilla runs around in this big rubbery suit with this dumb look on his face. Clearly you can tell he's not the real deal. Now for years people have clamored for a figure of this guy, and Bandai never really wanted to jump the gun, mostly because that meant sculpting a new figure. And well, it seems Bandai's modus operatum, I think that's how you say it, lately has been pretty much, let's just reissue stuff. But a few years ago, through their Bandai Premium line, they issued a 3-pack of Mechagodzillas that was part of the transformation sequence that you saw in the movie. But people asked, hey, that's not the whole transformation. Bandai said, oh, just wait a minute. We're going to offer that to you. And they did, which meant you had to buy 2 packs at roughly, I think they retailed at about 150 to 160 a piece. I think the Mechagodzilla was a little more because it was 3 figures. But not long after that, they're like, hey, we're going to give you the rest. And thus today, we have the fake Mechagodzilla. They came in this delightful box. As you can see, it's pretty big. Ooh, there we go. So the other box has the completion of this sequence, which if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what it is. But why is it upside down? I do not know. But that is the Bandai Premium touch. You get a nice fancy box instead of just a figure on a tag. Let's take a look at the figures. Behold the wonder and glory that is the fake Mechagodzilla. Now, as Bandai Premium goes, this is actually among some of their best work they've ever done. He is of a higher quality than the standardized Movie Monster Series figures that are out at the time. Basically, he's a harder plastic or vinyl. I think he's vinyl. Sculpt is actually quite amazing. He's pretty much a full replica of the suit with the tail drag. He's got the big dopey face and the battle damage arms, which is a big plus. Bandai did offer a Godzilla 74 back in their 50th anniversary set that came with the slightly battle damaged arm. But this one gives you both. So you get the Anguirus battle damage and the one that Godzilla does with the heat ray. The arms do come off, which is the weirdest thing, because that is how they're packed, but they pop right back on. Now, the one issue I have with this figure is that he's slightly bigger than the standard Movie Monster Series line. I was told that it was done to be more in line with the 90s figures, which were roughly between 7 to 8 inches instead of the standard 5 to 6 that the Bandai Movie Monster Series are. And that throws off things on the shelves. If you're kind of ADD about scaling, this is going to drive you nuts. But that said, still, one of the finest figures. I mean, the whole reason I think most people bought this set was for this figure alone. And he does come with a tag, as you can see. So the Bandai Premiums, as I've shown before, have this more classic tag, which is doesn't fold, it's just a single tag, and it's in that more kind of like rectangular shape. In the back, really nothing to show. But you're asking, Chris, you paid this much for this figure? No, because it comes with 2. And as you can see, exact same sculpt with the starting to change kind of the color scheme. So essentially you're getting 2 of the same figures, but the idea is that when you complete all 5, you get the full transformation sequence, which is cool for display, but at the end of the day, you're paying nearly almost $400 for 5 figures. So that is questionable at best. But for those of us who do love this movie to death, it was a no-brainer. So the only problem is that I got this guy sitting around and I don't know what to do with him because he was the only one that I wanted. And that is the joy and curse of collecting. But overall, these are fantastic figures. I really wish that Bandai would produce more stuff like this. The latest premium Bandai offerings I've seen, while of higher quality, don't live up to this standard. And there you have it, folks. That is the Imposter Godzilla, or Mecha Godzilla in disguise, depending on whatever nomenclature that you like to use. Remember, if you like what you see, we do have a show. It's called the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. You can find us at thekaijukingdompodcast.com. And if you don't like to download, we are also streaming. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you find better podcasts. We're also on social media. You can find us at X at the Kaiju Kingdom, Instagram at the Kaiju Kingdom, and Facebook.com/The Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. And that'll do it for this edition of the Koffers, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time.